Well, good evening. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Vincent Marzulli. I'm the president and CEO of Marzulli and Sons Mars award-winning service company, and I have been for the past 40 years. Now, I've been in this industry, plumbing, heating, cooling, HVAC, drain cleaning, for the past 50 years, even though I'm only 28 in my head. Okay. I've been in this industry for quite a long time. Now, I'm also known within this industry, how did he say that? AKA, also known as Cousin Vinny from Philly. Well, you ever see that movie, My Cousin Vinny? All right, that came out about 30 years ago, somewhere around there. And when that movie came out, I was traveling and speaking on the national circuit. Well, guess what? Everybody started to call me Cousin Vinny from Philly. All right, I didn't come up with that term. I didn't come up with it at all. But the movie itself is a classic. My Cousin Vinny. I don't know if you ever saw it. You might want to go watch it. It's hysterical. Joe Pesci is the attorney, and matter of fact, Herman Munster is the judge. He just doesn't have the Herman Munster monster, Frankenstein makeup look on, but he is the judge. And it's the first time a lot of people get to see him without the makeup, okay? But he's got this classic line. The judge says, did you say Utes? Okay, because, Joe Pesci is referring to his family member, and he says, well, the two Utes. And so the judge is like, the two who? Did you say Utes? Two Utes? What is a Ute? Okay, it's like way over the top, that movie. But anyway, that's when it all started. 30 years ago, everybody started watching that movie, and that's when it came out. And that's when everybody started to call me, Cousin Vinny from Philly, and they still call me that even today, even though I don't even live in Philadelphia. Okay, so let me get back to where I was really wanting to start, and that is, but let me put it that way. I always ask that question, okay, because I'm trying to create a link in your mind to remember my name, Vinny. My name is Vinny. You can call me Vinny. You can even call me Cousin Vinny, because it won't make any difference. I'm not politically correct, and I'm not going to be offended by it. Okay. So let me go take a step back. Let me roll back. All right. This is going to be a 4-day left seminar. Okay, mini series, solution tips to start and operate a successful business. Okay, I'll be presenting tips for 5 straight days in a row, starting at 7:30 p.m. every day. Okay, so make sure that you tune in. Now, this is all going to be being brought to you by yours truly, Vinny, okay, from Mars, M-A-R-Z. That's my abbreviation for my last name, Marzulli, which is M-A-R-Z, kind of like the planet Mars, but only with a Z on the end, okay? Mars award-winning systems. Okay, I started another company because I do consulting and coaching as well at this point in my life. Well, anyway, I hope you have a pencil and a pad, because I want you to take some notes. It's going to be real important. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you a preview, okay, of what's coming and what you got to look forward to. What you got to look forward to learning, I should say, when you tune in, if and when you tune in for the next 4 days. But before I get started with any of that, let me start sharing with you a very brief disclosure, okay? Now, I'm not by any means am I an attorney. I'm not an attorney. It's number one. Number two, I'm not an accountant. Number three, I'm not a financial advisor. And I want you to know that, because anytime you start a business, start a company, you need to have those particular individuals working in your business and in your life. Okay? Because they're professionals, and you should always seek professional counsel whenever you start a business or whenever you're running a business. Okay, so let's get that kind of clear and out of the way. However, I have been considered by many as an expert on these particular subjects. And if you follow any of these systematic processes that I'm going to be sharing with you, the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you, I guarantee that you will get positive results if, that is, if you do not deviate at all. Okay? You can't deviate. If you deviate, you're going to get a different result. Now, I want you to please understand, okay, that now that I'm out of the business, I'm retired from that hands-on mechanical trade business, plumbing, heating, drain cleaning, bathroom remodeling, diverse home services. I'm out of that. I'm finished with that business, okay? Moved on. However, my goal here is to share with you all some tips. Share with you some tips, business tips that'll take you to the next level. They worked successfully for me. I ran a very successful, mechanical business. Let's put it that way. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get some of the tips to you so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, just understand, I took the business from here. This was the ground floor, so to speak. And I took it from here up to here. Okay, now this was the ceiling here. This is the ceiling. I went as far as I could go, so to speak. And I'm saying to you, if you listen to me, I'm going to bring you these tips. You can start right here on top of me and take it from my ceiling right up, okay, to the next level of success for you in your business and your personal life. Now, just want to keep on moving. I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. That's the whole point of this thing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, I completely understand how very difficult it is to get started in business, even though I came from a family business. Okay, you have to reinvent yourself all the time. And so, I completely understand how difficult it really, really is when you're starting out in business and you got to find customers and you got to find money. Okay, it's not an easy thing to do, right? Not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not easy. So these are subject tips that I'm going to be bringing to you, and I should be sharing them with you, a little bit more in depth. Let me put it that way. When you tune in for the next 4 days, straight in a row, 7:30. Okay, got it. Okay. Now, these tips have to do, like I said, with solutions and tips to start and operate a successful company. Now, a lot of you guys are just starting out with your business and you don't even know the first step to take. You just don't. Okay? And then there's other of you that have had businesses for quite a long while. It doesn't make any difference to me, because the point that I'm trying to get to is it happens to have to do with an old proverb that I always share with everybody, even before I even start speaking, and it kind of goes like this. The amount of new things that we need to learn are less important than the old things we need to be reminded of. They're the things that you already know. You already know what I'm talking about. You're going to be might saying in your mind, well, I already heard that before. I already know that. I understand that. But the point is, the amount of new things that we need to learn are less important. They're less important than the old things that we need to be reminded of to put back into the business. Implement, execute, okay? So let me start out like this. This is what I'm going to be covering. The very first thing that I'm going to be covering is called identifying the right type customers to sell to. And that's using what I call the 80-20 rule, okay? And that's going to take you to the next level. However, I'm going to be able to show you how it works in relation to customers and income, all right? You're going to learn to focus on accomplishment, not on activity. You won't be able to, waste time because you're going to be focused. You're going to be focused on accomplishment. And you won't be chasing after every customer, believe me. You're not going to be, it's not what I'm going to teach you. You're not going to be chasing after every job and every customer, because you're going to be able to identify the right type customers using this process. You'll spend less time, okay, less money, less time chasing customers and less money going after them in advertising. And you'll do the same amount of work, but the bottom line is you're going to be making more money with, quote, less stress. No stress, okay? That's what you're trying to do. You don't want stress in your life, because you'll end up getting sick and ulcers and everything else. All right, now, this is just going to move you faster to that point in your business. So number 2 is called the invoice. The second session is called the invoice, and it's about the language of the fine print. Now, you're going to learn how to design a professional invoice, one that will really, in fact, help you to comply with the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office and their criteria, what they're requiring from contractors, such as myself and you. Okay, and so anyway, this is going to help you to comply, and it'll aid you. As a matter of fact, it will aid you in, if you ever have to go to court. Okay, it's going to keep you from falling into a pit, so to speak, the pitfalls. The pitfalls of business. If you don't pay attention to the details, you're going to fall into the pit. All right, and so this is to help you to avoid the pitfalls of where you could end up at. Like, for example, receiving lawsuits. Nobody wants to receive a lawsuit. Nobody wants to have to go to court. Nobody. So I don't think, unless you're an attorney and you're making money, but nobody wants to end up there. Matter of fact, you don't even want to end up there having to get an attorney, because guess what? You're working hard to bring money in to your business. Okay? You don't want to be spending that money recklessly, having to hire an attorney to represent you. That's crazy. That's money in, money out, no money at all. Believe me. No money. You're not going to make no money. Get an attorney to represent you. So the point is, I'm going to share with you this process. And believe me when I tell you, this is a system that will work, and it will protect you and your company. It's going to protect you, and it's going to protect your company, so that, in the event that you end up having to go, to court, the very least that you'll have attempted, let me put it that way, to do your due diligence. Now listen to what I just said. The very least you will have done your due diligence. That's what the judge is really going to be looking for. He's going to be wanting to know, did you do your due diligence? Let me see your paperwork. Let me see all your paperwork. And you better have been paying attention to the details. Okay, now this kind of knowledge, believe me when I tell you, this kind of knowledge will stop a bad customer right in their tracks. Now that's not my opinion or I kind of took that line directly from the State Attorney General's office. Years back, I and 2 other guys went to the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we went to the State Attorney General's office to be able to amend the Consumer Protection Act. That's what we were there for. And so, line upon line, I went over my forms that I brought with me, because my forms were pretty well put together. Anyhow, line upon line. And so what happened in the discussion, I happened to say to him, I said, listen, you got to understand, there's a lot of bad customers out there. Hate to tell you that. And he stopped me and he said, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of good customers, yet there are a lot of bad customers as well. But your information, your forms will stop a bad customer right in their tracks, because your forms are put together right. And he screened them. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? These forms will help you to, these tips are going to help you to be at peace. Now, the third thing is consumer law compliance. Let me put it that way. That has to do with like three documents, three documents that you need to be doing work in Pennsylvania, state of Pennsylvania. These three documents, number one, you need to have an invoice. Now, we just briefly touched on that. And two, you need to have, okay, but let me go back a step. The invoice needs to contain all the important information, or I should say the language, that's required by the state attorney general's office. Okay, now, if you don't have that information, you're going to be in trouble because it all has to do with consumer protection law. That's number one. That's why you have to have an invoice. Now, number two, or I should say B, A is, the invoice, and B, I call B the notice of cancellation. Now, the notice of cancellation is a duplicate form that needs to be provided to every customer, every consumer, so that they have the option to cancel the transaction within 3 working days. This is the law. I didn't make this stuff up. So, and they have to sign the forms. It all has to be documented. This is paying attention to the details. So, let me move on. C, what I would refer to as C, is called the Emergency Work Authorization Form. Okay, the Emergency Work Authorization Form is a form that needs to be signed by the consumer. Every consumer needs to receive a copy of this, and they need to sign off on it before you, the contractor, can even do any work. Now, I know you don't even do that now, and you're probably saying, where's this coming from? Well, guess what? It didn't come from me. It came from the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office. However, inside of that form, there's this language allowing the contractor to perform any kind of work deemed as a bona fide emergency. Now, that's some tricky language. Believe me, it's a very tricky language. And I went through it back and forth with the Attorney General, in the office. And we kind of went back and forth. And I clarified that. Now, you can't just go in there and do any kind of work you want. You think that you can, but you can't, technically speaking. Legalistically speaking, you cannot do that. And you better have this form signed. And bona fide emergency is like, are you kidding me? When I give you the definition of that whole thing, I ain't going to do it now. But when I do, you're going to be like, you got to be kidding me. What are you, nuts? All right? But the point is, bona fide emergency, I'm going to help you to understand what it means and how you can kind of go around legally, okay, legalistically, using the right terminology to be able to go around so that you're in compliance and it's all legitimate, it's all on the up and up, you don't have any problem if you can present it properly. So, let me continue to move on. The fourth mini session, okay, is going to be, it's an A-B session, but it's going to start off with perception becoming reality. Now, I'm going to teach you, okay, some of the, little, I'm going to give you an understanding of why, you know what I mean? I'm going to give you the understanding of, why you have to do what you have to do, the how and the why, so to speak. So you can set a positive tone in the minds of the consumer or the customer, as we call them. Okay, you want to set in their mind a professional image that what? You're a professional. You're a professional, number one, and your company is professional, number two. That's what you're trying to instill in the minds of the consumer or the customer. So by learning and introducing into your business these techniques, you'll be able to build rapport with the customer. You're going to be able to build a relationship, okay, so that they they get to like you, they get to know you, and they get to trust you, and that's what you're trying to do. And you'll be able to build that customer rapport by persuading them in their own mind to do business with you, okay? And the end result of that is going to be what? Closing the sale and ending up making money. putting money, increasing your revenue, increasing your bottom line, okay? So, now, I want you to know that I wasn't always the CEO in this company, and I grew up in a family business. It's a blue-collar business, blue-collar family, and I started working at a very, very young age in the summertime during the breaks. And, you know, my father wanted us to learn, so he would take us to one of the jobs and we would learn. He was doing new construction. He was doing track housing up in Northeast Philadelphia around Academy Road and Morel and that whole area, Comley. We did, oh my gosh, we did a tremendous amount of new construction back in the day, okay? Garden apartments, you know. Anyway, I grew up in the business and I had to deal with a lot of the same things that you're dealing with today. And I also worked in, you know, summer heat degrees that were like 100 degrees, and I worked in the freezing cold when it came to the Christmas break, and I was off for between Christmas and New Year's, and I was working, okay, and I worked in them temperatures that were like freezing, sometimes in single digit temperatures where you're freezing to death. Hands are freezing, feet are freezing, you're trying to figure out why you even got into this business, okay, but guess what? That's a reality. And that's what we got ourselves into when we got into the plumbing, heating, and cooling business, okay? So anyway, we all know what? You got to get the job done. There's no crying. There's no playing, you know, just the way that it is. And then we got out of that residential new construction business because the builders were making all the money and we weren't making anything. They were just using us to make plenty of money. So we identified that and we moved on. And we got into residential service, okay, fixing toilets and fixing water heaters, and, you know, then we started doing curb traps, and we did, you know, sewer and water lines, that type of a thing, okay? So you know what that's all about. We were digging in holes. It's not like we were doing when we were on, doing new construction, because we had backhoes out there tearing up, you know, all the ground. When we did residential service, we weren't using the backhoes. We were technically doing it by hand, okay, unless we got into a deeper type of main drain. But the point is, we were doing it by hand, digging stuff by hand. Matter of fact, I had been in ditches 20 feet deep. Do you hear what I said? No shoring, none. Talk about crazy, right? 20 feet deep. Many of you working in Northeast Philadelphia, you know the street that I'm talking about, Gillespie Street, between Robbins Avenue and Levick. There's a 20 feet deep sewer. Okay, you can't even hit it with a backhoe. You need an extender hoe. And then on top of that, buckets with ropes. You know what I'm talking about. Bucket it in there and pull it out of the hole. Okay, so I just want you to know this is what I'm talking about. This is crazy stuff. Matter of fact, I'm crazier than you can ever be. One time I even crawled into a 36-inch brick sewer. I crawled all the way in. Oh, for what reason? To retrieve a cable. I got the phone call, Vinny. Hey, listen, you know, I got a problem. I said, what's the problem? I said, did you get it open? He says, no, I can't get it open. I said, why can't you get it open? He says, well, I don't know. I got 50 feet of cable in there. I said, what? How can you have 50 feet of cable when the house is only 30 feet away? Bam! The light went on. Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. You got that cable stuck in the sewer. Well, guess what? Guess who had to go out there? The boss, the owner of the company, okay, to go get this thing straightened out. Well, at that point, I was pretty young and I was very stupid. And you don't ever, ever, ever go into a sewer. Never, ever. Don't ever let that be part of your job. You don't go there. Don't ever do that. Anyhow, I went into the sewer to unravel the cable and pull it out. And you talk about like stupid, young and stupid. Guess what? I could write a book on stupid. But anyway, many of you know what I'm talking about because you're doing the same thing. Matter of fact, some of the crazy things that you're doing is you're working during the day, and then you're working at nighttime, and then you're working on the weekends, right? And then you're working on holidays, okay? It's like you don't stop. We don't ever stop. We don't want to lose the customer, and we just keep on working and working and working. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. And that's why I want to share with you a few of these tips, okay? So you can put that all behind you. Even though we need to find money to pay our bills, pay the payroll, you know, make money to pay the equipment that we bought, pay that off, bills, matter of fact, debt that we get ourselves into. However, along the way, a lot of that had changed for me. A lot of it had changed. And it had changed especially when it came to customer service. And what I mean by that is, when it came to customer service, okay, a lot of things had changed because I had spent thousands of dollars, a lot of money, thousands of dollars in education. Benjamin Franklin said the best investment that you can make is in your own education. It pays great dividends. All right, so what I did was I spent a lot of money, thousands of dollars, learning different techniques and different processes, etc. Not only did I spend the money, I spend the time, thousands of hours. Well, guess what? You're in the same situation as me. The only difference is I'm older than you, all right? And I've been around a little longer than you. And I probably have taken a whole lot more courses and things like that than a lot of you, because I took memory techniques and negotiation skills and on and on and on. But the point is, you guys are doing the same things that I did in the past when I was young and I was reckless and I was foolish. But I learned from a few mentors how to do things right, okay? I figured out how to solve many of the problems that you're still dealing with, okay? That's the issue here, trying to figure it out. Now that I've successfully retired and I stepped out of my hands-on operation of my business, I'm no longer competing with you in the, for a water heater or a curb trap, okay? I'm out of that business. But I thought I would share with you some of what I learned along the way. I'm just going to give you some tips, secrets to operate a successful business that'll take you to the next level where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, that's what this is all about. Nobody wants to reinvent the wheel. So I put together these short videos, and I'm trying to keep them like under 30 minutes. I might go over 5 or 10 minutes, just let you know. But most of them are like under 30 minutes. And this is just to give you a snapshot, okay, of what your upcoming year, 2023, can look like. If you listen, you write it down, you listen, you write it down, and then you review it, and then you implement it in your business, okay? And you can be successful in 2023. And let me just share with you like couple more last things, and this is kind of appropriate for right now. Listen, let me explain something to you. It's real simple. I've been running this company for 40 years, all right? In 40 years running a service company, number one, I never, ever, ever got sued by anybody. Service company. That's like almost incredible. It's almost unheard of, okay? That's number one. Number two, never got sued by anybody. Number two, I never had to sue anybody to collect my money. You know why? Because I had these systems that were in place, these systems on how to collect the money using fine print, etc. Okay? So, never got sued, and I never had to sue anybody. Okay? Now, I've been to court, and I'll be quite frank with you. I've been to court because I used to do expert witnessing. That's the kind of background that I have. Never got sued. Never had to sue anybody for my money. Number three, guess what? I got 5 kids. I have five children. Okay, 4 boys, 1 daughter. They all love me. They respect me. Okay? They call me and still talk to me. Like, hello, that's what you're trying to do. They call me when they need help. They call me and ask me to pray for them. Okay? I still have that kind of a relationship after 40 years. All right? Guess what? Number 4, I've been married to the same woman for 43 years, okay? 43 years. Now, that in itself is an achievement, okay? Now, I didn't say it was easy. I just said I've been married for 43 years, and I want you to know that. So, and then 5, wait a minute. I reached a level of success within my business. I reached the pinnacle of the success, and you can see that in my accolades, so to speak. But the point is, I reached a pinnacle of success, and then I retired. Yes, and I made money. You all can make a lot of money if you want to keep working and you want to work hard and long. But the point is, I made money, and I got out. I'm retired. I'm retired from that, okay? I'm totally retired from hands-on business. But I thought, you know what? Thought to myself, guess what? You know, when I looked back, I started to laugh, and I thought to myself, you know what? I did a few things right. I did a few things right, way ahead of the curve. But the point is, maybe I might want to share these last things with you. Maybe I might want to share a few tips with you so that you can get to that next level. Now, it's really very complicated stuff, and I could teach this stuff for like weeks and months, okay? But the point is, I just want to give you the tips so that you can grasp it and that you can move to the next level of success in your business and your life, all right? These are systems that work, and they work every single time, okay? So stay with me for another minute or two. This is a system. I'm going to share with you a very quick system on how to save money, and I want you to just listen and listen closely. Okay, so use your imagination. You get your check. You make $500 a week. I know you make more than that, but let's just use that. Keep the numbers pretty simple. You make $500 a week. You go to the bank. This is what I'm going to tell you to do. This is the system. Go to the bank, cash the check. While you're there, you take the $500. Take $100 out and open up a bank account right then and there. You open up a business bank account. Okay, now what I want you to do is next week go to the bank, cash the check, $500, take another 100 out, put it in the account. Now you got $200 in your account, okay? Third week, fourth week, and I want you to do that every week to the end of the year. That's like 52 weeks in a year. Guess what? Do the math. 52 times 100 is $5,200. So I'm going to come to you and say to you, hey, you're going to have $5,200, right, at the end of this system. However, it doesn't work like that. It never works like that because of the lack of self-discipline that we have. Okay, so what happens is the first week it works, the second week it works, maybe the third, fourth, fifth week it might work, and then all of a sudden, you know what happens? Something pops up. Always pops up. Okay, your wife wants to go out to dinner, you don't have the cash. You just say to yourself, well, I'll just take that $100 out and I'll take her out to dinner. I'll put that $100 back later next week or, you know, whatever. You're just lying to yourself because it never comes. It never comes back. It really doesn't come back. And then what happens is a couple more weeks goes by, and now your kids want to go up the mountains or down the shore. You need a few hundred to make this happen, so you take the money out. Well, guess what? End of the year comes, you and I, we meet, and I'd be like, yo, hey, dude, how's it working out for you? That system that I showed you about how to save money. You got $5,200, right? Now, I want to ask you that. I'll say you got about $5,000, right? Somewhere around 48 to 5,000. And if you don't have that amount of money, something went wrong, okay? Something went drastically wrong. And the drastic part of what went wrong is that you didn't follow the system because it works. And it doesn't discriminate at all. It doesn't care if you're black, white, brown, Asian, okay? It doesn't care if you're male or female. That doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care how old you are. You could be 8 or 88, okay, and do the same thing, you're going to win. But if you deviate from the system, it's not going to work. It's not going to work the way it's supposed to work. And guess what? That's the whole point of this whole thing. What I'm trying to tell you is that I'm going to share with you a few nuggets that will take you to the next level of success. Right up, okay? However, they won't work for you if you don't follow them accurately, okay? You cannot deviate. And if you deviate, wrong answer, you're going to lose, okay? So my point being, look, together we can make this thing happen. I'm going to share with you these nuggets, and you're going to end up winning in the end if you follow the system to the T, okay? No matter what, it's going to work. It's a proven system that works. And guess what? Not only will that system work, all of these other systems that I'm just going to share with you, they all work. And they'll all take you to the next level of success. If you don't deviate, you're going to get the same results that I got when I was in that business. Okay? That's the point here. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Remember what I told you. I started from here to here. This is the ceiling. And guess what? You're coming in above the ceiling, and you're going to take it to the next level. Whew, right through the roof. Okay? Now, I don't want to waste any more time. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. I want to share with you one last thing. in order for me to, like, I decided to expedite the process here. So I'm just going to give you my website link so that you can go in there. If you have a pen and a pad, I would like you to write it down right now. I'm going to share it with you. Okay, the link is Marz, MARZ, Service, SERVICE. That's marzservice.com. Okay, Mars, like the planet Mars, but only with a Z, MARZ, SERVICE.com. Now there, if you go in there, if you take the time to go in there, you're going to get a snapshot. Snapshot of what? My company, my history, my accolades. Okay, and I'm asking you to check it out so that, you can validate and see why many people have called me an expert in this field, on these subjects. So anyway, I hope you make time to tune in tomorrow to learn some $1 million advice for free. Okay, that's what's happening. These tips are worth like $1 million. Okay, believe me, they really are. Okay, and they will move you to the next level of success in your company and the next level of success in your life. It's not just about business over here. This is taking you to the next level. So if you're really serious about your business, I'd like to ask you to set a reminder on your cell phone, 7:30 tomorrow, this next day, tomorrow at 7:30, and we'll dig deeper, is what I was going to say. We're going to dig deeper into identifying the right type customer using the 80-20 rule. And that's about it for this evening. I'm sure I went a little bit over 5 minutes, 7 minutes over the 30-minute mark. I was trying to keep it within that parameter. I certainly appreciate you all tuning in. That's all I have for you for the evening. And I hope you've learned something, wrote something down. This is Vinny from Marz, AWS, okay, award-winning service. That's the acronym, okay? So, I know that if you tune in tomorrow, believe me, I'm going to be able to have a conversation with you that'll take you to the next level of success in your life and business. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a great evening. Vinny checking out. See ya. Take care.